Welcome to the Rich Feet Podcast with Dr. Tanisha Richmond. This podcast is sponsored by the Richmond Foot and Ankle Clinic, where they specialize in happy feet. Each episode highlights the best of Dr. Richmond's radio show, providing bite-sized clips of advice. Let's jump right into the show.
We wanted to talk a little bit about what one could expect on their very first visit to your office.
Well, at least give yourself, I've had patients schedule for new patients and give themselves 30 minutes. So I would say give yourself to an hour and a half for a new patient visit. You have to consider when you first come on your first visit, you have paperwork to fill out. We have to verify insurances, collect copays, deductibles. Then you have to be taken back by the medical assistant. We do a full and complete history on you. Even though I am a foot doctor, I do check you from head to toe because the foot is attached to the rest of the body. So all of these things work in conjunction. And then you're going to be seen by me. You may need x-rays. You may need other procedures done. So sometimes it could be a 1 to 2 hour visit depending on your issues or health problems or concerns. So always give yourself at least, I would say for a new patient visit, at least 2 hour time frame to be safe. If you're coming by travel, give yourself at least a 2 hour time frame.
So about how long would the first visit be?
Oh, so like I said, between an hour and a half, depending on you, what exactly is wrong with you. So sometimes patients, especially new patients that may have diabetes or kidney problems or health problems or other problems, you know, they may take longer than other patients who may just have one issue like some warts or athlete's foot, or a diabetic patient may be more complicated than someone with just arch pain or heel pain. So it just depends on what your problem is. And that's especially when we talk about people with transportation. Give yourself at least a 2 hour window. And pretty much all patients, give yourself at least a 2 hour window, because we've had patients who try to schedule doctor's visits back to back. And it usually runs over.
Well, you know, the one that got me was the man headed to the airport.
Yeah, we did have a gentleman. He scheduled his appointment, I think, 2 hours out from his flight.
Amazing.
And he got mad at me because I didn't get to see him in time before he flew out of Dayton. So,
wow.
That was not my fault. That was poor planning. You know, if you fly, and I fly a lot, you always want to at least plan to get to the airport 2 hours before you leave. So to go to a doctor's appointment, you should probably do that 2 to 3 hours before you're scheduled to leave.
How about the day before, the couple of days before?
Or the day before. If you're flying out at 4, you probably want to make that appointment for that morning. You know, you never know what may happen. And in my office, I never know what may walk in, roll in. Yes. To my office. I may have to admit someone to the hospital, call for an ambulance. I mean, different things happen every day in my practice. I never know what may happen.
And so when one schedules their appointment, they can also find out if their insurance is accepted there, right?
Yes.
And if it's not, they can self-pay.
Yes, we do have a self-pay option. We're on every single plan except for Anthem, some forms of Anthem. Blue Cross Blue Shield, but you can always call the office to see exactly what part of that plan we're not on. And we do offer cash pay options for people who are uninsured or not on the particular insurances that I'm on.
Okay. So if you are examining feet and someone has an issue with, I know you mentioned it before, eczema or psoriasis, do you treat that as well?
Yes, I can treat anything below the waist.
Anything below the waist.
As long as it's on your foot, ankle, leg, I can treat it. Now, I know my scope of practice. I know what I'm not capable of or it's out of my scope. Like lots of times we'll see patients who have neuropathy, which is the numbness, tingling, and burning in their feet. And I determine it's not from like diabetes or it's most likely coming from the lower back. Then I work closely with a spine specialist who can treat the lower back and thus treat that pain. But, initially I will work the patient up to figure out where this pain is coming from. And of course, if it's not something I can treat, I have a team of doctors who I can refer them to get further care and get more specialized care, especially I see a lot of patients with bad backs. And they've had these bad backs for decades and just been told they just have arthritis. But then it's causing their feet and legs to burn. And once they get that treated, then that pain can go away.
Okay. Dr. Richmond, before we go to a close and have you give your closing comments and suggestions today, we're going to go to the lines and take our final caller for the day.
Well, it's not my choice not to take Anthem. It's Anthem's decision. They said the panel is closed and they don't want any more podiatrists on their panel. So I would advise all people who are on Anthem to contact Anthem and ask them to allow me to be on their insurance, because I do want to be on Anthem. It's just they will not let me on their insurance. So the best thing is just to contact them and ask them to let me on their plan, because that's the only plan that I am not on in the city of Dayton.
And you know, that's really unfortunate, but in the interim, if they are a patient, they could, of course, do the self-pay until that's worked through, but that would be a great idea for them to contact them and send them a letter and say, hey, listen, you need to add Richmond Foot and Ankle Clinic.
Yes, the insurance companies have more control over our health care than people really realize. They dictate, you know, your medications, your care, your treatment, your physicians, everything. And patients assume that physicians, we have control. No, we have no control over what you can or cannot have.
Yes.
So it's all dependent on the plan that you're on and what medications they say they will pay for. So, you know, it's a very complicated thing. And, you know, being in healthcare for 10 years, I've evolved and learned with the whole evolution of healthcare and possible change depending on what happens next year in Congress. Hopefully not much. But, you know, as we always talk about, education is key. And knowing, understanding what's going on with your healthcare, your health insurances, talking to your health agents, talking to your physicians, and having honest conversations, because a lot of people have a lot of misconceptions with healthcare. They assume just because you have a health insurance card that it pays for everything. And unfortunately, this day and age, it doesn't. And you just have to be educated. You have to ask a lot of questions. There's no bad questions. It's only bad when you don't ask questions because you don't know the answers.
Great information, Dr. Richmond. Well, we, of course, thank you so much. Any final comments for us?
Just take care of your feet. You only have two.
We hope you enjoyed today's show with Dr. Richmond, sponsored by the Richmond Foot and Ankle Clinic. The clinic is located at 1323 West 3rd Street in Dayton, Ohio. Zip code 45402. To book an appointment, call 937-228-3668, or you can learn more at richfeet.org.